If you work in insurance right now, you probably need a pep talk.
You in the past, I'm in the future. You mad, they don't salute you. I need.
Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan, and I make videos on lifestyle, insurance, and mental health. I also do vlogs, day in the life in the insurance industry, day in the life of the toddler, all the things. So if that's something that interests you, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for your support. Okay, so I wanted to do something a little bit different because I do talk about mental health on this channel. And if you work in the insurance industry right now, you have probably had several days where you're wondering, how did you get here? Why am I doing this? I need another job. This is crazy. I know I have. So I wanted to put out a video just to kind of give you guys some motivation. If you are kind of experiencing like just what's going on, it's a time of year where there is crazy weather. And for us insurance professionals, that means an influx of claims. Add like being short staffed and having unattainable goals on top of that, and things can just get really crazy and make you depressed, increase anxiety, all that stuff. So I just wanted to give you guys a few tips on how to get through it. So if you're interested, definitely go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so my first tip is very practical. It is to relax. This happens every year. Every year, no matter where you live, there is going to be like natural disasters. Right now, I'm in California, and so we're strained because of the heavy rains. If you know anything about California, it's kind of rare that we get crazy weather, especially in Southern California. But right now, we're going through a situation where it has been raining for days and days and days on end. Today, it just happens to be sunny, thank God. But it's been raining for days and days on end. And then up north, there's a lot of flooding, a lot of just kind of crazy stuff going on. This is not just California, but also across the country. There are just, this is the time of year, it's winter time, so a lot of crazy weather. Now, again, when this happens, that means that there is an influx in claims. A lot of times the catastrophe adjusters are called upon to go to these different areas. It's called deployment. So a lot of times these adjusters will be sent to these areas to assist like on site with these actual losses. And then what that means for the adjusters that stay home, like myself, we get an increase in our overall claims load because our catastrophe team is stressed, and sometimes we have to help them out. My job right now is in a state where they are asking for assistance from volunteers, like basically people that can take on additional claims. And this is in addition to your normal workload. So I know it's stressful. I am extremely stressed, but I also know that this is a season. I'm going on 8 years in this industry, and honestly, it happens all the time. So the best thing I can tell you is just relax. We're gonna get through it. It's something that happens all the time, and it's something that if you stay in this industry, you just have to prepare for it. You know that this time of year, and there are other times during the year where things can happen, or even if something like unexpected happens, where you can be strained as an adjuster. All you got to do is just take a couple deep breaths, get to it, do what you got to do, and just know that this particular time will pass. So my next tip is something that I tell my friends and colleagues all the time. And I actually have to tell myself this too, because I get into my feelings when I don't get things done. But do what you can every day and be okay with it. Also, you need to understand that what you can do every day is going to look different depending on the day, depending on the workload, depending on the insured, whatever. There are some days where I can knock out a lot of work. I can, appease this customer, appease that customer, get a couple extra things done that I wasn't expecting. And then there are days where a wrench is thrown in my plans, whether I end up stuck at an inspection for longer than I expected, I end up on a call that was longer than expected, I have, meetings, whatever. Sometimes those things happen and I'm not able to get anything done. I think that as an adjuster, you have to get used to like always having something to do and knowing that when you end your day every day, it's not about closing out everything that's on your plate. It's about like basically moving things as far as you can move them until the next time. So understand that you're going to always have work, and some days are going to be more productive than others. But as long as you do the best you can do every single day, you will be fine. So don't beat yourself up if you weren't able to get to this thing and that thing. Unfortunately, this is an industry where it can be unpredictable, and especially with the workloads and personalities, like you're dealing with people. So things come up, things happen. Not every day is going to look the same, and not every day is going to be as smooth as you would like it to be. But you need to just become uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, and just know that as long as you're giving it your all, you've done your best, and you just try again the next day. Okay, so my third tip, and I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, but take care of your most needy insureds first. So when I say needy, y'all know what I mean. There are going to be people that are going to ask you for updates every single day, even though you've told them it's going to be at least 2 to 3 business days before you get something. There are going to be public adjusters that are reaching out to you and hounding you to get something crazy done. Make sure that you prioritize those things because it'll make your life easier when you're working on the other smaller tasks. And when I say smaller, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're less important, but maybe you have an insured that's okay waiting the 2 to 3 business days that it's going to take. Maybe you have an insured that has some damage, but it's not something that they're like in a super hurry to fix because it's not completely hindering their home. So they're just, they're waiting on you to review your information and they can give you that time. I'm not saying that those customers are not important, but I do think that it is healthy for you mentally to take care of the people that are going to be a pain in your behind. Okay, I personally, and I'm going to talk about this in one of the next tips, but I worked a little bit of overtime this weekend to take care of a public adjuster on a claim that was transferred to me that's been going on for like over 6 months. So he had already said that he was going to be reaching out to me next week. We're off for the Martin Luther King Day holiday. I'm filming today, that's why. So I knew that he was going to be reaching out to me. Basically, we talked Friday. He said he's going to reach out to me Tuesday. So I was like, let me go on ahead because I know he's going to do this and I know he's a little bit aggressive, not really in a bad way, but it's been going on for a while. Let me just kind of log in and work this file just so I have something to bring to him when we do speak on Tuesday. I have another situation where this particular customer had like 4 or 5 different adjusters. I am like the umpteenth adjuster and he's upset because he built a rapport with the previous person. That person left. Whole other story. But he needs assistance because he's been in temporary housing for a long time. And the contractor that we referred him is like on BS. So it's a lot of kind of like babysitting and just making sure that they know I'm on top of those things and, just kind of putting people at ease. So when you have customers like that, the last thing you want to do is get so inundated that you don't address their claim because those are the customers that will make your life a living hell. Those are the customers that will escalate and stuff like that. So when at all possible, put those people first. I also feel like it helps you throughout the day. Like sometimes they're big tasks to tackle, but once you tackle them, you're done and you're free until the next time you have to address it. So it alleviates, that stress and it gives you the motivation to work on the other items, that may be smaller and not as pressing. So definitely put your needy or aggressive insureds first. Okay, so kind of piggybacking off of that, have a plan for your overtime. So this is my 4th tip. Now, when I say overtime, I am salary. So when I'm talking about overtime, I'm not necessarily getting paid for it. This is just basically work that I'm doing when it's quiet, when people don't expect me to be online, so I can actually dedicate the time I need to get this particular thing done. Maybe I need to send it for, an approval for payment or something like that. So I can get that done on one of my off times, to just kind of move some things along and make my life easier during the week. So how you choose to do your overtime, completely up to you. You have some people that prefer to like not work any weekends and maybe they'll log in like really early during the week to use those couple of hours before people think they're online to get things done. You have some people that prefer to work a couple of hours after their scheduled, closing time to get things done. And then you have people like myself that kind of does a combination of all of that depending on like what's going on. So if you've been watching my videos, I do not like to do overtime, but I also know that in this industry, it's a necessary evil to make sure that I stay on track. So what I typically do is I look at kind of my inventory and I look at the things that I need to get done, prioritizing those claims that I know are not going to go away and those claims that I need to like pay attention to before they escalate. Those are the claims that I'm usually trying to move forward during my OT. Things that are going to take me forever, like things where I don't have, 2 to 3 hours to set aside during the day because I'll be inspecting all day. Those are items that I'm going to work on my overtime. So I typically will kind of make a list of the people that I want to touch. But then I usually have like 3 to 4 items that like, no matter what, I need to touch these. There are usually a couple extras that I'll put on there. Like if I get done with these, 3 to 4 activities and I'm going to work on these and knock these out. I did some overtime yesterday because I wanted to take Saturday to just kind of relax because last week was crazy. I figured yesterday being Sunday, I knew I was going to have today off. So that kind of just, it was like in the middle. It gave me a day to rest. I was able to log in, get some things taken care of. And then today I'm still, well, filming, but resting too. So I was able to work on like 2 really big assignments and it alleviated some stress. I was able to check some emails. I was able to knock a couple of things out on my overtime because I strategically planned for it. So don't just work overtime arbitrarily and, you know, work on BS. Actually have a plan, actually have some things that you want to knock out, like create yourself like a, depending on how your company's set up, it might be kind of built into your system. Like for us, we have a desktop, so I can see like what I have planned for the day. If, you know, Microsoft Outlook works for you, or if you have your own, you know, planning software, I would suggest something like that. But make sure that you have actual files that you're going to work on and you know exactly what you plan to do during that time. So then your overtime is actually productive and it's not just you wasting time on the clock. And when I say wasting time on the clock, I don't mean like wasting the company's time. I mean wasting your time on the clock. Okay, so my last tip, and I would argue that this is the most important tip, is to take really, really, really good care of yourself on your days off, or even like after you get off work, after you log out. Take really good care of yourself. I say this because sometimes we get into the habit, myself included, of working, doing things for everybody else, and then you just kind of neglect yourself. And next thing you know, you're used up, you're tired, you're angry, you're annoyed, you're irritated because you have not poured into yourself. So one thing I like to do is in the evenings when I get done with my work, a lot of times I have been kind of moving my workout schedule more towards like closer to the weekend. Although I like to work out during the week, it's just been so busy that I feel like, you know, with editing, trying to make dinner, trying to, you know, clean up and stuff after work, sometimes I just don't have time. So I still get my workouts in, but I push it more towards the weekend. But I think that you need to have like some type of routine. Like I've been taking ashwagandha, I've been drinking like relaxation tea, things like that, and just kind of like having moments. Like I actually watch YouTube, so I will, you know, look at the like my list of videos that I haven't had a chance to watch from my favorite creators. I set aside that time in the evening because it's like, you know, I gave myself to work all day. I, you know, took care of my kid all day, cleaned up, all that kind of stuff. Like I need to have some time for me, even if that's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. You could do that with your shower routine. I would say for me on the weekends, what I kind of like make a habit of, like a ritual on Saturdays, is when I take my like long drawn out shower. That's a shower where, you know, I'm shaving, I'm doing my little exfoliating, I might do a mask, I am, you know, washing and conditioning my hair, I light a candle. Like I have a whole little ambiance going because I know that like during the week I'm not able to do this. So I need to find those little pockets of time to pour into myself. So I think that whatever it is for you, whether it be working out, whether it be eating a home cooked meal, whether it be just zoning out watching TV, or honestly just not doing anything, you need to find time to take care of yourself and put the same effort that you're putting into your job and you're putting into everything else that's going on around you into yourself. So make sure that, you know, you have little pockets throughout the day, I would say, whether it be like in the morning, if you get up a little earlier to just kind of like have some me time, or even in the evening, that's, you know, the time that's best for you to have some me time. Do that, but then also have like a day where you just pamper yourself. You know, you deserve it. Not even like you deserve to be pampered even if you're not working extremely hard, but especially during these like busy pockets where it just kind of feels like no end in sight, you cannot forget about yourself. So have yourself a little routine and make sure that it is all about you. All right, you guys, so that is all that I have for today's video. I really felt that it was important because some of you guys have been commenting, just talking about how stressed out you are right now with work, how you don't know if you want to stay in this industry and all that stuff. And when I tell you that I feel that way on a daily right now, like ever since we came back from New Year's vacation, it's been crazy. It's been lit at work. And I've been in that same, headspace where I've told you guys that I don't even want to be an adjuster anymore. That's still true, but more or less, like me not wanting to be an adjuster, it's just me wanting to get to the next step. I don't necessarily want to leave the industry because I've built my career in this industry. I don't want to start over. And honestly, it's been good to me, if I'm going to be honest. Just career wise, money wise, I feel like I've made the most money I have ever made in my adult life, and I mean, it's been a lot of work, but it's definitely been worth it in that instance. But I do want to move over to another department type of role, whatever. But I say that to say, if you are just kind of stressed out, if you're kind of going through it right now, make sure that you are kind of really honing in on these tips. Understand that this will pass. This is not forever. And if you plan on being in this industry, if you plan on sticking it out, you have to come up with routines to where you just don't lose your marbles during this time. So if this video helped you, if you learned anything, if you just needed to hear it, if you just needed the pep talk, definitely go on ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Share it with your friends and family. Share it with your insurance professionals, because I'm sure that everybody could kind of use a pep talk, just some words of encouragement right now. If you made it this far and you have not subscribed, definitely go on ahead and click that subscribe button below. Be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And with that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.
In the future, you mad they don't salute you. I need a bag, size is super. They turned your bag, it's like I never knew.